Hello everyone, Boss Tutorial is back, and today we're talking about Python and how to use Python, and we'll be talking about the basics of Python as well. So basically we'll be talking about how to print in Python, how to display in Python, how to work with the if-else statement in Python, and as well as we're talking about the arithmetic operators, which are the basic ones. We'll be tackling all of those in one video. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the print function. There's an easy way. I mean, it's easier to print in Python. You don't need to import such thing as libraries to print out a or to display a particular string, an integer, or any type of data in Python. It's a built-in function basically within the Python itself. So I'm going to show you how to print out a string, and as well as how to print out an integer, how to print out as well as how to print out the value of the variable that you declare within your program. Alright, basically the print method in Python, it starts with the word print, and inside, it starts with the word print, and after that you'll just have to include the parentheses. Basically that's different. It is necessary when you are using the Python 3, but if you are using a Python 2 or any Python 2 version, you don't need the parentheses basically. Alright, so to print a string, you need to include inside the parentheses, you need to include the quotation mark. Alright, so when let's say for instance you wanted to print out a string, you need to use the quotation mark basically. Alright, so I'm going to put hello world, which is the first thought that you'll be doing when the first thing that you'll need to do when you're about to learn a new program. Alright, so let's go ahead and run this one. So I'm currently using a Python project, and as you can see below, this is the whole the whole code that I wrote, and this is actually the output. Alright, so now we know how to print something in Python. That's how basic it is to print something in Python. Now I wanted to discuss to you the difference between printing a string and as well as printing a integer. Alright, so I guess oh no. There we go. Alright, so that's how you basically print something. That's how you basically print a string in Python. Alright, so I wanted to print 0 right here. So alright, so above we've got a I wanted to print 0 as a string, and then below I wanted to print 0 as an integer. Alright, let's go ahead and run this one, and as you can see, it outputs the same. The output is still the same. It's 0. It's still 0. However, here's the difference. Alright, so I wanted to add something on my 0. Alright, so it'll be causing an error if I don't put this one in, if I don't convert it into a comment. So let me say for instance I wanted to add another 0 on this string. Alright, so if I add, let me say for instance number 2. So if I add 2, the usual answer for that one in integer is 0 plus 2 will be 2 basically. But if I print this out, by a string with the quotation marks, basically it will show me this. As you can see, it adds the string basically from the string 0. It adds the number 2, it pairs to the number 2, and it shows as the answer will be 0 2. But still, it's still 2. However, it's a string, so basically you cannot add something, or you cannot apply arithmetic method to get the answer that you wanted. And so I'm going to show you the difference, by the difference of using the So now I'm going to show you the difference of using the print function without the two quotation marks. Now I wanted to add 2. Alright, so I wanted to add 2 in this one. Hold on a second. So here we need to add the number 2. So basically 0 plus 2, an integer would be 2. And so what do we expect? It will be, the result will be 2 as well. So this difference of using the string and as well as the integer. Now another thing is that I wanted to show you in using the print function is how are you going to print out the value of the particular variable. So let me say, for instance, we got a variable 1 here, and we want that variable to be a string, which is hello world, and you wanted to print that variable. Basically, you just call the print function, and then no need the quotation marks. Basically, you just have to put in the name of your variable, and you are good to go. Just make sure that it is inside the parentheses, because without a parenthesis it will not work. Specifically, you're working with a Python 3, but if you are working in Python 2, that would be just fine. Alright, so let's go ahead and run this one. And as you can see, the value of this variable, which is the hello world, and then I print out this particular variable. I just put the variable name inside the print function, basically, and now we have the hello world here. Alright, so that's how you print in Python. Basically, if you wanted to print a string, use the quotation mark. Now if you wanted to print the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, no need for any quotation marks, basically. So as a sample, I'll be adding 2 plus 2. And if you wanted to print out a variable, basically you just need to do is basically you just wanted to do is to write. So basically what you just wanted to do on printing the variable value is to write its variable name. That's it. Now I wanted to alright, so let's run it. So here are the results, basically, and so now you know how to use the print function in Python, which is pretty much the basics of Python itself. You must know how to print out something in Python or in any programming language that or in any programming language. Now what we want to do is to learn how to use the if-else statement in Python. So I'm going to make a simple program here for the if-else statement and examples where you can use the if-else statement, basically. And so basically we're going to print if you're young or too old, basically. Or so yeah, it's just print young if you are under 18, too young, print too young, basically if you are under 18, and we are going to print old if you are basically 18 or older. Alright, so so here's how you use the if-else statement in Python. So it starts with the same word, which is if, basically. So if, alright, so of course we needed some input, basically. So our input name is n is equal to input. This is how you do it on Python. So you're going to use the variable n as the container for your input. Alright, so we want to input an integer, basically, into to convert that input, because in default the input function gets the in default it gets the string inputs basically. So if you put a number, it will be converted into a string, and it will not it will not perform any arithmetic operations with an integer as well. So you wanted to convert it into an integer. So I have to use the int function in Python, and then inside the int function is the input function, which will convert the input function into an integer input. Now we have our variable n into a integer input. What we just basically need to do with that is to use the variable n into our if else statement. Now if our n is less than 18, we're going to print out too young, and if our n is more than or equal to 18, we are going to print old. Alright, so here it is. To start a if else statement, or to start this statement, basically we just have to put if. So if your n is is less than 18, so if your n is less than 18, make sure to put the colon on after the condition. So if is your condition, and after the condition, basically you just have to put this colon and then enter. Make sure that you have a tab after you in the next line. On the next line, make sure that you have a tab, because Python is really strict when it comes to indentation of your code. Basically, if so you'll have to have a tab or any indentation before the next line of code when you are using the if else statement. And so alright, so here if it matches the values of n, if it matches the condition, alright, we're going to print this block of code, which is alright. So we'll be using the print function, which is the one that we tackled originally. So you wanted to print, too young is a string, so basically you wanted to print a string, and to print a string basically you'll need to use two quotation marks. Now for this one I need to just type too young for this one. Alright, sorry. So there you go. So we print too young if our n value is less than 18. Now here's the else if. So this is how you use else if. Alright, so else if, or the elif method, or the elif is it's just the else if basically, but you can just use the else statement, because anything that is more than or equal to 18 will be old basically. But you can use this one as well. So else, so if, or so I'll be using the elif statement basically. So elif n is more than or equal to 18, we'll be printing old. Alright, so if you can imagine any values that doesn't meet any of those conditions, that's where else statement goes. So print does not number, the input does not number number. But that does make sense. Alright, so let's go ahead and try to run our program. So we need to input something basically. So I wanted to, so I'm 19 years old, I'll put 19, and it'll say old because it meets our condition, which is equal to 18 or more than 18 basically. Now I wanted to put a I wanted to put less than 18, so let me say for instance 10. Let me say for instance that your age is 10, so we put number 10 here. It'll show you too young. So that's how easy it is basically, and how to use the if else statement. So if it doesn't, if it meets the condition of the if it meets the condition within the if statement, it will be executing a particular block of code, and if it doesn't meet the condition, it will be just in case it meets the other else if statement, if it means any of those, it will execute the particular block of codes. So else statement, just remember if statement, if this one meets the condition, it'll execute this block of code, and else will be the default for if, just in case none of those meets the condition. Alright, so after the if else statement, I wanted to talk about the arithmetic method, which is, the arithmetic operations, pretty much the basics of the mathematics, which is the addition, of course, the subtraction, the division, the division, and the multiplication. I almost forgot one. Multiplication. Alright, so pretty much these are the most basic arithmetic methods, or the arithmetic operations that you need to know in Python. But I wanted to add the modulus as well, which is, I think, one of the most important arithmetic operation that you need to know in Python. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the addition. So remember, you can also apply the one of the arithmetic operation in strings, which is the addition, basically to concatenate. It's basically to concatenate a string. So we've also discussed that within the previous the previous one, which is our print function. I wanted to discuss to you the arithmetic operations, which are the addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and as well as the modulus, which is pretty much the basics of the arithmetic function. Alright, so let's go ahead and delete this one. Let me just show you first the what will be the results if we concatenate this words. So let's run the program. So as you can see, it's concatenate to get a string as well as the string hello world. So it adds those words basically. If that's on the string, that's the only arithmetic operation. That's the only arithmetic operation that you can use in string basically. Now I wanted to show you how to apply these particular arithmetic operations in your integers. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the addition. So basically addition, which is a plus sign, basically it'll be easy. It's very easy to use. You'll just have to use the plus sign basically, and then that's it. Alright, so make sure that you're using any number data types like integers or float to add them. Alright, so we got one, and we got number 1 and another 1 adding together will be number 2. So if you wanted to add, let me say for instance you wanted to add 2 variables that is integer type. So we got the number 1 here, which is equal to 4, and then we got the number, okay, I hate it. Alright, we got a number 4, and then now we got a number 2 equal to 5. Now if you wanted to add it, basically as I told you earlier with our print function, if you wanted to print something in a print function, if you wanted to print a particular variable, you just have to write down their variable name basically, which is the number 1 plus the number 2. Alright, so you don't need to use a quotation for this one, so that Python or the compiler knows that you are using a variable. Now, from here, we wanted to add number 1 and number 2, which is 4 plus 5. Basically, so if we run this one, we should have the result of number 9. Alright. So that's how you do the addition. Now let's move forward with the subtraction. And so basically, it's just, you know, I'll be using the same thing. I'll be using the number 1 and number 2. And basically, I'll be using this one as well. So, you know, and subtraction, just basically need to use the subtraction symbol, basically, or the minus sign. And you know, it's 4 minus 5, which is -1. It will show you -1 basically. So if you wanted to use the division, which is just the division or the divided by sign, basically, just have to, you know, it's 4 divided by 5, so it will automatically. I wanted to add this one up as well, so it will automatically, you know, this will automatically, you know, convert your integer data into a float, basically. So if you wanted to use the flat division in Python, you need to use two. You need to use 2 of its symbol, basically, to do that. So 4 divided by 5, I think it's just, you know, it'll be 0 basically, because, you know, flat or those will be 0. So maybe I guess 8 and 5 will be the best. Will be the best sample for this one. Alright, so it'll show you 1. But if you use the division rule, which will you know, which will convert your integer data, I mean your integer variable into a float result, basically. Alright, now apart from division, you want to as well know the multiplication, which is one of the you know, basics of the basics of mathematics. Alright, so for this one, you'll just need to use the multiplication symbol, which is the asterisk by this instance, and it will be you know, it'll be multiplying 8 to 5, which is the number 1, and then the number 2, which will give us a result of 40. Now we'll be using the modulus, which will give us the results, or will you know, which will give us the result, or the remainder, basically, when you divide a particular number. So 8 divided by 5 is equal to 1, and then there will be a remainder of 3. So it should give us the remainder of 3. Alright, so that's how basically modulus works. Alright, so now we are done with the three we're done with the 3 tutorials, which is how to print in Python, and how to use the if-else statement and then, as well as the arithmetic operations, basic arithmetic operations in Python. That will be all for today. Once again, my name is Boss. So if you wanted to learn something in specific, you might want it as well to actually put your comment down below. And of course, don't forget to click the subscribe and like button, which is located down below as well. Goodbye.